Today, I'm going to talk about something that's probably a little more controversial and maybe it's a little preachy, but I want to do so with a lot of disclaimers. You can ignore the video in the background, that's just some MCOC and chill, so you have something to look at while I rant. That said, I'll drop a bunch of disclaimers. The first one is that this is an opinion. There's no actual rules or anything set in stone. These are just the way I view it. This is what I think, and it's part of the reason why I don't necessarily hold Kabam completely at fault for what's going on right now, but I do have a lot of commentary on their part as well. I'll be a separate video talking about the importance of technical writing, which I think is incredibly important and it goes undervalued or underappreciated, and is something that definitely needs to be retuned, and it is admittedly something they're retuning. More on that later, but I want to talk about the content creator program, specifically talking about people who either use it to make videos, people who use it to post or anything or share information, because part of being in the CCP is you have access to things before other players might. You have access to new champions or maybe seeing new content or new nodes or whatever. You have the ability to interact with the developers about things that other players don't, or maybe you have a connection that other players don't yet, being part of a smaller group. And I think, disclaimer, the CCP has a lot of amazing positive aspects, and I really want to emphasize that. Even though I'm someone who has zero interest in it, I think the CCP has a lot of really good potential, especially for Kabam and making this game as good as it can be. It allows them to have a select focus group of players providing feedback, maybe kind of beta testing in a degree, giving them a good idea of knowledgeable players and what they want, and they get that player perspective that they can't from a developer mindset. And I think that is super awesome. I think that's really, really valuable for Kabam. I love it. But that said, when you're part of the CCP, and even if you disclaim, and even when you disclaim, hey, this is the CCP, this isn't in the game yet, blah, 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 it's subject to change. Even if you do all of that, I think that if you release information from the CCP, things that aren't in the game yet, I don't think it would hurt to just ask Kabam first. Double check with the developers. Hey, is this working as intended? Because otherwise, there's a self-awareness moment where when you post or you release information from CCP, it generates hype, and it generates excitement, and it generates speculation, and then it could result in misinformation or a letdown or potentially bug abuse, something that needs to be fixed or changed, and then there's this huge letdown in the community that I think could be avoided with a simple, hey, in your whatever CCP program or format you'd use in order to reach out and speak to the developers, just a simple, hey, I did this led to blank. Is this working as intended, before I release a video talking about it? And I realize that that's a lot of extra steps, but I also think that's what, or should be, if it's not, you signed up for as part of the CCP. You recognize that you're part of content that's not in the game yet, and I think that it's a responsibility of the person creating the video or creating the content to take that extra step, to prevent that potential for misinformation or bug abuse, or however you want to put it, for unintended interactions and generating hype that didn't need to be there. And yeah, that's my thought on that. And yes, I think that there's a lot of responsibility on the viewers. I myself actively try to avoid any kind of information leaks. I try to avoid CCP videos if I can. Sometimes I'm being asked about them, so I do a little research on my own just so that I can at least talk about it to an extent. Or if someone wants to know whether or not I think it's working as intended, I'll reach into that as well. But for the most part, I personally, as a viewer, I avoid those because of the potential for misinformation, because they're subject to change. I don't want to see something that could potentially be changed. I think that there's no point in that. I'd rather wait until it's launched and then I know for sure this is how it's working, this is how it is. Why generate hype for something that isn't out yet? I think it's just a bad player experience in general, but I know that a lot of people really, really like trailers or having that inside information or seeing things a little early. I understand the excitement and the hype for it, and I totally respect that, but this is where I hold that expectation not on the viewer, but on the content creator. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Again, I'm not trying to target anyone. I'm trying to take this is strictly opinion. This is what I think. These are the expectations I have of someone who's making, essentially beta videos, is to layer it with lots of disclaimers, as well as, just that extra step of making sure it's not a bug or that it's working as intended first. And then if Kabam decides to nerf it or what have you, at least there was that extra step of saying, hey, is this how it's supposed to work? And they have the high ground there. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.